channel Tiny Tea Talks. If you are new to this channel, subscribe the channel, and for details of this channel visit the bio section, or you can also check out my first video. As you know, I already started to upload individual theory explanation videos and already uploaded 3 psychodynamic theories and one from theories of learning, which is classical conditioning theory, which is type of learning through association where a person or animal learns to link two stimuli together so that one begins to trigger a response that was originally caused by other, which is basically related to one of the ways we pick up new information and skills. So stay tuned for all the theories of child psychology. Today we are going to cover operant conditioning theory by B.F. Skinner. Operant conditioning theory is developed by B.F. Skinner, is a learning theory that explains how behaviors are shaped by their consequences. Unlike classical conditioning theory by Pavlov, which deals with the involuntary responses, operant conditioning focuses on voluntary behaviors and how they are influenced by reinforcement and punishment. Skinner built on Thorndike's law of effect, which states that behaviors followed by satisfying consequences are more likely to be repeated. So here the word operant comes from the idea that the organism operates on the environment to produce the consequences. Skinner built on Thorndike's law of effect, which states that behaviors followed by satisfying consequences are more likely to be repeated. So Thorndike's law effect is a foundational principle in behavior psychology that explains how consequences shape behavior. So he said that behaviors followed in the early 20th century through his experiments with animals, especially cats in puzzle boxes. How it works: when a behavior leads to reward, the connection between stimulus and response is strengthened. When a behavior leads to punishment or no reward, the connection is weakened. So over time, the organism learns to repeat the actions that produce positive results and avoid those that don't. Classic example of this is puzzle box. So Thorndike places hungry cats in a box with the levers. At first, cat used trial and error to escape. Once they discovered that pressing the lever lead to food, they learned to press it faster in future trials. These showed that successful actions are reinforced by their outcomes. So child receive praise for cooperation, so behavior is reinforced and child likely to cooperate again. If child is ignored after tantrum, behavior is not reinforced and tantrum less likely to reoccur. Here are some terminology which explain with the example you need to know for this theory. Operant behavior is the voluntary behavior that operates on the environment to produce the consequences. A child cooperating during dental treatment to earn praise. Reinforcement is increases the likelihood of behavior recurring. Giving a sticker after a child sits calmly in the dental chair. Punishment decreases the likelihood of a behavior recurring. Removing playtime for disrupting behavior in the clinic. And extinction is the behavior decreases when reinforcement is removed. So ignoring tantrum to reduce the attention seeking behavior. There are 4 types of operant conditioning. The first is positive reinforcement. Adding a pleasant stimulus to increase the behavior, which is added after the behavior, is positive reinforcement. Rewarding a child with a toy for cooperative behavior during treatment. Negative reinforcement. Removing an unpleasant stimulus to increase behavior. So a child throws a tantrum and escape treatments. Tantrum is reinforced and likely to happen again. So here unpleasant stimulus from a child's perspective is the dental treatment. Now the behavior is tantrum, which is running away. Consequences is treatment is stopped and child escapes. So learning outcome here is tantrum helped remove the unpleasant experience on the perspective of child is more likely to repeat it. So the tantrum is reinforced because it succeeded in terminating the dental stressor. So if clinicians unknowingly reinforce escape behaviors, child learn that disruptive action can get them out of treatment. So strategies like desensitization, tell show do, positive reinforcement are designed to shift this dynamic. The third is omission or timeout. A pleasant stimulus is removed after behavior, so behavior decreases. The dental example is a child loses their favorite toy temporarily for misbehaving in the clinic. So omission is removing the pleasant stimulus to get the proper behavior. Fourth is punishment. An unpleasant stimulus is added after behavior, so behavior decreases. For example, using a palatal rack to correct the tongue thrusting, and voice control speaking formally to redirect the child's behavior. Now there are some schedules of reinforcement. First is continuous. So reinforcement after every responses. Implication: useful during initial behavior shaping. Fixed ratio. Reinforcement after a set number of responses. Reward after every 3 cooperative visits. After every 3 cooperative visits, they get reward. Variable ratio. Reinforced after unpredictable number of responses. So most resistant to extinction. Ideal for long-term habits. Fixed interval. Reinforcement after a fixed time of period. Praise every 10 minutes of calm behavior. And variable interval. Reinforcement after varying time intervals. Surprises rewards for consistent behavior. So Skinner did experiments, which is first is Skinner box. Rats learn to press a lever to receive food is a positive reinforcement, and to avoid electric shock is negative reinforcement. Shaping: gradual reinforcement of successive approximation toward a desired behavior. And superstitious behavior, so pigeons develop ritual due to the accidental reinforcement. Shaping is a technique Skinner developed to teach complex behavior by reinforcing successive approximation. For example, step 1 is reward the rat for approaching the lever. Step 2 is reward only when it touches the lever, and step 3 is reward only when it presses the lever. So the behavior is shaped gradually like sculpting with reinforcement. There was one famous case is pigeon bowling. Skinner trained a pigeon to swipe a ball towards toy pins. He reinforced tiny movements that resembled the final behavior, and within minutes the pigeon was bowling like a champ. This experiment was so impressive that his student Keller Brillant left academy to train animals commercially using shaping techniques. It was an experiment in 1948, Skinner's most famous demonstration of accidental learning. He placed a pigeon in a box and food was delivered at fixed intervals regardless of what the pigeon did. So what happened? Pigeon begins repeating random behavior like spinning, head bobbing that happened to occur just before food arrived. They acted as if their behavior caused the food even though it didn't. So Skinner called this superstitious behavior a powerful example of how temporal association can lead to the false learning. So how it relevant to the clinic? Shaping used to teach the children step by step cooperation, like if the child has first dental visit, then step by step cooperation, first sitting calmly, then opening mouth. Superstitious behavior helps explain rituals or avoidance patterns that children may develop around treatment. Behavioral insight: reinforcement timing is critical. Accidental reinforcement can lead to persistent undesired behavior. Now, operant conditioning applications in pediatric dentistry. So, first is in behavior management, of course, use of token economies, praise, and shaping to encourage cooperation. Desensitization: gradual exposure paired with the reinforcement to reduce the dental anxiety. Escape or avoidance learning: teaching children that calm behavior avoid unpleasant stimuli, for example longer procedures. So teaching the child that calm behavior avoid longer procedures. This theory also has criticisms and limitations. Overemphasis on external behavior: neglects internal cognitive processes. Ethical concern is using punishment and may reduce instinct motivation if over reliant on external rewards. These are the references. If you want this PDF or any other PDF, just like, subscribe, and comment or mail ID with the topic, and I'll share you the PDF. New videos on Sunday. We also put image based MCQ in pediatric dentistry in our shorts, and we'll put lots of other type of MCQs related to pediatric dentistry. So press the bell icon for every update. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks.